Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kyle and today we're doing something a little bit different. Today we're going to be looking at a potential Scottish Wonderkid top prospect. Let's get into it. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Before we get into things, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button for more FM22 content, and leave me a comment down below letting me know how you've been getting on with FM22 throughout the beta, and if you're looking forward to the main release, what saves you're doing, etc. But anyway, let's get into it. So today we're going to be looking at one of the top prospects to come out of Scotland in quite some time, and that is Billy Gilmour. So it's not really a hidden talent in the game or a hidden Wonderkid or whatever. Everyone knows who Billy Gilmour is if you pay attention to football in general. Billy Gilmour started his career out at Rangers as a youth player, and he was signed by Chelsea for about 500,000. And he's been, working his way through the Chelsea academy. He's currently on loan at Norwich, but that's not really going well for him from what I've been seeing online. He's currently not getting starts. There's a lot of issues. Chelsea are potentially looking at recalling him. It's a whole big thing. But he did make some appearances for Scotland at the Euros, and specifically in the game against England at Wembley, he shone as one of the top stars, even one man of the match in the game. So he's one of these players that has a very, very high level of hype about him, especially from Scottish people, because he could potentially help lead the country to future tournaments, etc. So today we're going to have a look and see how that's being replicated on Football Manager 2022. So the plan for today is we're going to look at, first of all, how he looks at the start of the game. Then we're going to jump forward a few years, see how he's getting on, how he develops, and then we'll just follow him throughout his career until he's in his sort of peak into his sort of early 30s. There, kind of see how his career's went, if he's stayed at Chelsea, if he's branched out, if he's fallen off a wee bit from the Premier League. But all will be seen. So let's have a look at how he gets on at the start of the game anyway. Now, already having a look at Gilmour's just general stats on the game, you can see he's already a bit of a standout professional. The only potential thing that might worry you about him is his size, but we'll get on to that. If you look at his technicals, they're very strong for a 20-year-old, especially this early in the game. His first touch is 15. He's got 15 passing, 15 penalties, 16 technique. These are all very, very good stats. And even some of these, the dribbling and things like that are, not great, but they're not bad either. So he's definitely one to keep an eye out on for his technicals. His mentals is where it gets quite good. So his anticipation 15, bravery 15, composure 16, determination 15. Determination obviously shows how much he's going to potentially grow going forward as well. So that's a big one. Vision 16, that's a massive one for midfield as well. So again, his mentals are pretty solid, especially for a 20-year-old, like I said at the start of the game. Acceleration and pace is okay for a midfielder. You don't really need too much in there. And his natural fitness is 16, which is big. His stamina is 12. Hopefully that grows as he goes on, but yeah, I think overall he's a quality player. Like I said, his physicals in terms of his actual size might be an issue. He's only 5'7", and he's only got 7 strength, 6 jump, and 9 balance. So there's a few things in there that might be an issue, but I think overall he's a very, very solid player and would do you well for most teams here. So let's skip forward, see how he gets on, let's see how his career kind of goes. Alright then, so we've skipped forward 4 years, we're in 2025, the season is just about to kick off. And would you look at that, he's already had a big move, hasn't he? So Billy Gilmour is currently 24 years old and he's at Ajax, which is a big one. So let's have a look at that actually, his transfers. They got him on a free, so that's an interesting one to potentially keep an eye on. Will Chelsea release him while you're doing your save? Is he one that they might actually drop the ball on and let it go? So he's dropped down there, which is, like I said, very interesting. He's so far only played 9 games, so obviously he came at the end of last season, so he's played 9 games, he's got 1 goal, 1 assist, and an average rating of 7.26, which is very solid there, so you could potentially see him breaking into the first team in the next coming years. Well, let's have a look back at his overall page here. So he's currently valued at 13.5 to 41 million. So obviously with Football Manager 22, there's not a set value. It's a moving scale, which is more realistic. So he could go anywhere for up to 41 million. He's currently on 17 grand a week, and he's got a contract till 2029. So that's a fair length on that one. Looks like it was a 5-year deal. If we all look through his stats, his corners, his first touch, all these things have if we have a look at his stats, we're looking at things like his corners and his so if we have a look at his stats and things like that, we're seeing a lot of green again here. So his first touch is 16, his passing's 15, penalties 15, his techniques went up to 17 as well. So he's seen some growth here. His anticipation, bravery, composure is all well. His vision's still good. He's became a bit more balanced across the board as well. And here he's definitely saw some improvements in terms of his balance as well. So there's been some improvements here. He's also got a new trait, which is tries to play his way out of trouble, which fair enough. But again, if you're managing him, you're taking control of those, so doesn't really affect too much there. Let's see if he's got any career milestones, any interesting things that he's done during the save. Let's see. That was before the game started. He scored his first senior goal for Norwich against Burnley. He was relegated. He was in their best team for Norwich. Chelsea won the under-23 Cup. Chelsea, nothing really else. He won the FA Cup with Chelsea, but he wasn't really involved. If we look at his stats again, he played one game for them while he was there. So again, it's difficult for him, but that is what it is. So yeah, I've just jumped in as a Scotland manager because I don't have the Dutch League loaded on this one. It looks pretty good, to be honest. This is sort of his best position. So deep lying playmaker, advanced playmaker, Mazzala, they all kind of make sense. So in terms of the role he's playing, he's superb across the board because the main technicals for a deep lying play is obviously first touch, passing, and technique, and he's quality at those. He's one of the best of those, especially from a Scotland point of view. His anticipation's brilliant, composure's brilliant, decisions could use a bit of work if you're talking at the elite level, and then a couple of these could definitely use a bit of work at an elite level, but his vision is good as well, and just his balance could be worked on. So again, he's looking pretty good. So I think he's 24 just now. We'll come back and see how he gets on. What we're looking at, we'll go 5 years in the head. Yeah, we'll go to 2030. We'll come back. He should be 29 at that point. So again, at that point, he's probably in his peak of his career. So we'll jump back and we'll see how he's been getting on. Right, we're back with Billy Gilmour. The year is 2030. We're 9 years in the future. He's currently 29 years old. So we'll have a quick look over how he's been getting on. He's currently got 70 caps for Scotland, which is massive. 4 goals there. He's still with Ajax, which is quite interesting, but he is getting more games now. So you can see that first season there, he only had the nine games, and then 19 the next season. But yeah, he struggled that season, but he's been getting gradually better. So yeah, we have a look at this. He's got 6 goals that season, 7 goals that season, 7.27 rating, 24 games and 9 goals. 7.48 average rating and all that. He's definitely a quality player he's turned out to be. If we have a look at his milestones, see if he's on anything. Yeah, he's been Scotland's best 11 for the last 4 years running. He's not won really anything, has he, with Ajax? Which is weird actually. You'd expect Ajax to win. No, they're not loaded, that's why. He's not won the league or whatever. So he's with Ajax, he's doing pretty well, if I can find my way around here. His stats, we're still seeing a bit of improvement. Nothing major. I think he was really, really good to start with, so there wasn't really too much he can go. He's just sort of became more well-rounded as the game's gone on. His first touch still 16, passing, penalty taking and technique are all solid. Anticipation, bravery, composure all solid. Again, we're seeing slight growth across the board. His strength's gone up quite a lot, which is good. That's something that was probably making him lack a wee bit for me So I think that's a big thing. His only stats that aren't really that great is his marking, his finishing, his crossing, jump and reach. But as a centre midfielder, deep line playmaker, you don't really need that. He's got one more trait that he's developed, which is playing 1-2s, which is fair enough. So I think he's had a decent career, hasn't he? If we look at his overall career stats, you know, he's played 169 games, 31 goals, 27 assists, and a .716 rating. So I think that's solid, to be honest. He's definitely worth having a look at. In terms of transfer value, what was he sitting at? Between 23 million and 69 million, which is a fair chunk of change. So I definitely think he's one of these players that could, for anyone, if you're signing him for any team, he's a big investment, because at the start of the game you're going to get him relatively cheap. So yeah, I think that's one to look out for. Let's jump forward a few more years and just see how he got on into his 30s, coming up to like more the tail end of his career. So let's have a look at that. Alright, so we've jumped forward 2 years here, takes that up to his 30th birthday, or his 31st birthday is coming up. So he's looking like he's starting to regress here, so this will be where we wrap it all up. But if we have a look at sort of his updates, he's gone down in value a wee bit, between 60.5 and 50 million. And then if we have a look, he's made some progression again in terms of his stats. His penalty taking's gone up, his corners gone up. Yeah, he's definitely made some progression here, but also made some regression in some places. He's got new traits, moves into channels, places shots, dictates tempo, tries long range passes, likes balls played in his feet. So he's definitely became a more all-rounded player here. If we have a look at his actual stats, let's see. Yeah, he's a first team player for Ajax. He's playing 29 games a season, 6 goals, 10 assists, 7.4 rating. He's definitely a top player for them, and you know, he looks like he's turned into a quality player for me anyway. I'd be more than happy to sort of pick him up for any team that I'm playing with, especially if you can get him on a relatively cheap deal at the start. And even when he went to Ajax originally for free, so that's an absolute bargain from them. I'm surprised they've not capitalised on it. Alright guys, so this was just a wee quick look at any sort of potential Scottish wonder kids, or anyone that, you know, could potentially grow going forward. So we've had a look at Gilmour. Is there anyone else you'd like me to have a look at and do the same thing with? There's a few players that come to mind, things like Nathan Patterson, Calvin Ramsey at Aberdeen. You know, there's a bunch of different players that are doing really well in terms of young Scottish players. So again, if it's something you'd like to see, give me a shout. I'll have a look, see if we can do more updates. Obviously this one was based on the beta, so full disclosure, if you do this when the full game launches, which is, you know, soon, it might not work out as well for you with Billy Gilmour, but I doubt he's really going to change that much, to be honest. So again, if you want to see more of this, give me a shout down below, let me know what you think. But we'll be back later in the week with our first episode of the full save for Football Manager 2022. It'll be an interesting one, so keep an eye on the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button for more, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.